Friends. I hope you and your family are staying safe and well and healthy. Again, we're living in a Jane Austen novel where that's how we, start everything now. I hope you and your family are doing well. But really, I do. I hope your family's doing well. Welcome to another Lispy review. I am going to review an audiobook that I read that I loved. So if you don't know, Audiobook Sync does a program every summer where every week, every Thursday, they release 2 new free audiobooks. They're not always new and recent books. Some of them are classics. Some of them are pretty recent books, but they're always something relevant and exciting. So 2 weeks ago, the audiobook that I listened to that was part of that free program was one that I have been waiting to read for a really long time. And again, since we're in quarantine, haven't had time to read a lot before, but now that we're in quarantine, it's like, why not? And I've been walking my dog a lot and like doing a lot of listening while I'm working or just getting outside and sitting and enjoying just sitting and listening to my book. And I've also been coloring and listening to my books. So I listened to The 57 Bus. This is a true story by Dashka Slater. And I listened to the audio. I don't remember who it was read by. I'm sorry. But it's called Two Sides of the Same Crime, Two Ends of the Same Line. And you'll see, let's see if we can get it. There we go. The 57 Bus, the cover has flames on the bottom of it. And if you've never heard of the 57 Bus, I highly, highly recommend it. It is nonfiction. It is a true story about two students. So the first one is a trans student who goes by Sasha. And they are sitting on the bus on their ride home and they're asleep. And then a boy comes and sets Sasha's skirt on fire. Yeah. Let that set in for a minute. Sets their skirt on fire. And yeah, Sasha catches on fire and then has to live with these burns all on their legs and kind of has to keep going. Now, I loved this audiobook and I love this book because it tells both sides. So it starts with Sasha's story and how Sasha was born a male. And as they learned more about transgender, and about being asexual and bisexual and lesbian and gay and all these different terms, they figured out who they are. And I think that's really important for many, many people and students to read right now is they figured out who they are. Not really with outside influence, just by learning and researching and thinking like, oh yeah, that's how I feel. And that's what I think I am. And I thought it was really cool to read that and to hear it as a book explaining. And you hear Sasha's story and how they went. Sorry, my dogs are mad at the mailman. But how they went through school and life, and how you learned that Sasha also has Asperger's and is on the autism spectrum. And it doesn't affect them in a way that like makes them more awkward than the other students at their school, because they go to a very selective school where other kids are like them. So anyway, you hear about Sasha, you learn about Sasha's life and how they came to loving the bus and how Sasha rides the bus home every day and how the bus played an important part in their life. And then you hear about the other person, the person that set Sasha on fire. And what I love about hearing about the other side of the story is that you almost feel bad for the other person. And what I loved about this book is as the book goes on, the other person who, sorry, I had to check the name of the other person. The person who set Sasha on fire's name is Richard. And you learn how they interact. Not really Sasha and Richard, but Richard's family and Sasha's family. Because once Richard has been prosecuted and had to go to jail, you learn about how the two families kind of interact and how Sasha's parents are just so empathetic that they're like, we don't want this to go to trial because we just want our child to be able to just get over it and move on. And we want this to be over. And it's so cool. Like, I really loved how the book also went through different types of justice and how, there's different ways for Richard to have been able to do his time. And you also hear about the the place where Richard goes for jail and to serve his time. And I just thought it was so interesting how everything is handled. Like it was so cool to hear, and especially that it's nonfiction. Like it was truly engaging. Like I didn't want to stop. It was great. So again, that is the 57 bus. It's part of the Audiobook Sync summer free audiobook program. And I hope you give it a listen or if you give it a read. But I heard the audiobook and I loved it. So highly recommended. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, let me know. Bye.